Hello everyone, I am welcoming you all to the session 4 of Unit 4 Design. In the previous session, we discussed about the different steps that are involved in the structure design methodology. That is, the first step here is to restart the problem with respect to the DFDs. And the second statement we discussed is we are identifying the abstract input and the abstract output. In the third step, we discussed about the first level factoring of the modules, and in the last step we discussed about if the structure is still in the higher level, again we can decompose or again we can factor those input modules and the output modules. So, organization of this session. In this session, we are taking one example of a structure design methodology. Here, we are writing a DFT or a data flow diagram for the word counting problem and structural chart of the word counting problem, and we are discussing about one activity. DFT of word counting problem. First, we'll state the problem. Determining the number of different words in an input file. So the problem statement says that we have to determine the number of different words in an input file. Suppose if we are giving an input file as a word file, first we have to get the word list, what are all the different words the particular file contains. After getting the word list, we have to sort the list in an alphabetical order. That is, getting the word list is also an input file, getting the sorted list is also an input file. After getting the sorted list, we have to count the number of different words. We have to make sure that we are counting only the different words, not the similar words. If a counting is set to the 1, if the word is a different, if it is same, there will be no increment in the count variable. After getting the final count, we are printing the count. The same has been given in the form of DFT. That is, there will be we are giving an input file. After getting an input file in the form of word file or any other suitable file, we are getting the word list that is involved in the particular file. After getting the word list, we have to sort the list alphabetically. So after sorting, this is also a form of input file, where the output of this file serves as an input to the next stage. That is, we have to count the number of different words. After getting the count, the final count will be printed. Here the input file is also called as an input stream, and the desired words is nothing but count of the different words. To transfer the input into the output file, first we have to get the form of the word list, then we have to sort the list. The sorted list is then get to know the print of the count. The arcs, if you could see, there will be arcs in the DFT diagram. This arcs is there in both the input file as well as the output file. So this arcs represent that it is the most abstract input and the most abstract output. In the diagram, we can see sort the list or sorted list is a most abstract input type, because why we call it as an abstract means get the word list is also an input and get the sorted list is also an input of the other form. But after the sorting the list, it will be no more input. It will be in the form of, it will not be in the form of no more inputs. That is why we call it as an abstract input. So after this step, it will be no more a required input. So that is why we call it as an abstract input file. So that is fed into the central transform called count the number of different words, where it counts the different, and here print the count. This is an one most abstract output, I can say, because after this step it is no longer required. That is why we call it as an abstract output. So in this particular DFT of word counting problem, sort the list is an most abstract input file, we can say, and print the count, that is count is a most abstract output file, I can say. And the function or the module count the number of different words acts as a central transform where it has a one input and one output of the data items. Count the number of words serves as a central transform will be having a one input, one abstract input, that is sort the list, and one abstract output, that is print the count. So this is how we can represent the DFT. We are identifying the modules and we are representing the data transfer, and we are also identifying the most abstract input and as well as a most abstract output in this diagram. Now we'll see the structural chart of the above defined problem, that is structural chart of word counting problem. Here we can see in the structural chart, the first thing we are doing is we are factoring, or we are dividing the main module into a sub modules or the subordinate modules. If you could see in the diagram, that is there is a main function. The main function, we have a sub function as a get sorted word list. Again, it has a count the number of different words and the output count. So main is a central transform, or it is a main function or a main thing that contains a subordinate functions like a sorted one, count the number of words, and the output count. See, in the first level factoring, we are identifying the different modules that are required. So this is the factoring of all the modules. That is, the main contains one input module called the get sorted word list, and it also contains one output module called word count, and it also contains one central transform called count the number of different words, and also it contains arrow marks indicating that for the main function we are giving a input of sorted list. The word count will get the input from the main and produces the output as a count number. So here is an input we are giving to the main, and we are taking an output from the main and count the different of number words, and also the same has been updated in the output count. So it has all the three functions. One is input module, which is nothing but get sorted of word list, and it has one output module called as a output count, and one central transform, that is count the number of words if it is a different. So this is a first level factoring that has been given in the structural chart of word counting problem. As I said, the input module returns the sorted list to the main module. That is, the arrow mark indicates that the input module sorted list will return to the main function. So arrow mark indicates that it is an input given to the main function. The output module takes from the main module the value of the count. That is, this is the output module which takes a value from the main. So the arrow indicates that it is coming from towards the count from the main. So it is taking an output. There is one central transform, and the data items traveling to and from this transformation module are the same as the data items going in and out of the central transform. As I said, count the number of different words is a central transform where the data coming out and data coming in are same. So this acts as a central transform. Now, factoring the input module. If you could see in the diagram, the factoring of the, when we done the factoring of the main function, we got the get sorted list as an input module. For the simple sake, again we are factoring the input module because it is a little complex. Again we can reduce it to a lower level. If see, get sorted list is an input module. Again we are factorizing into a get word list because this is an get a word list. So get sorted list, from the get sorted list we are getting a word, getting the word list. If from After getting the word list, we can sort it out. I can get a word. If a word is different, then add to the word list. Then sort. The arrow marks indicates that first, after getting the word list, we have to sort it out. And if it is get the word list from the document where we have given as an input and add to the word list. If it is a different one, then it is a sort. So this also says that the input module can be further factorized to give the to get the inputs in a physical form. The sort transform written by the module is treated as a central transform. In the previous step, we got a sort. That sorted list we stated as a central transform. The input module can be factored further. As I said, it is further factorized as a module needs to perform two functions. The functions are nothing but getting a word and add to a list. It is a little complex function. This function in turn consisting of two sub functions, namely we should get a word and add a word to the list. So since it has to do the two functions, again we can factorize this get word list into a two sub modules or a two sub routines. In the output module, there is only one abstract output, so there is no need to factorize. As we know that in the diagram, there is only a sort is the only output one, only output module. We need not to further factorize as it doesn't contain any further output criteria. As we are not factorizing the output. So there is only one transform after the most abstract output. So factoring of the output is not required. If the output contains any other transformation which requires further level of factorization, then again we have to do the factoring of the output also. In our example, since the count is a most abstract output and it is no longer the output after this particular operation, the furthering factoring of the output is not at all required. So in our example, we are stopping the factoring at this level as the output doesn't require any further level factorization. Factoring the central transform. Here, as I said, count the number of different words we considered as a central transform, because it is also some of the complex form of the module, which again needs to be factorized. So what we are doing is, this indicates a loop that is repeatedly we can call it. So counting the number of different words in turn consisting of get a word, we can further divide it into get the word, and we should check whether the word we got is same as previous. If same as previous, then no need to count, or then no need to increment the count. For that we are using one flag. This flag will indicate that whether it is a word is same or different. If it is same, it will be set to 0. If it is a different word that we have encountered, then it sets the value to the 1. So after getting this, if there will be some decision making symbol, we can find the diamond shape or the rhombus shape. If the flag is set to true, it will execute one set of statement. If the flag is set to false, it execute the other set of statement. In our example, the flag condition will be true when it identifies a different word in the file, and the flag condition will be set to 0 if it sees the same word as a previous. So here comes the decision capacity, and the decision will be based on the word that we have encountered. So if it have encountered a different word, then increment the count and gives the count value back to the central transform. If it is the same word, then no change in the count, and the process will be keep on repeating until it encounters all the words in the file. That is how we can see a loop here. The loop indicates that we can keep on performing this action until we finalize all the words that are present in the word file. So the arrow mark indicates how the data will be flow. So we are getting a flag In the flag, we are storing the value either 0 or the 1. There is also one decision making. If the value is same, then the flag is set to 0. If the value is different, then the flag is set to 1. If the flag is set to 1, the count will be incremented. If the flag is set to 0, then the count will remain same. So this is the factoring of the central transform. So in this example of word count, we are factoring the input module, we are factoring the central transform. Because it is a little complex, we can further transform into a simpler form so that it can be easily implemented. We are not factoring the output module because it is no longer a output, that is, it is a completely abstracted one. No need to further factorize the output module. That is same. To determine the number of words, get the words repeatedly, determine if it is same as the previous word, or for the sorted list, we have determined whether the word we got is the same or not. If the word is different from the other words, then the count the word and the count value will be incremented. If it is same, the count value also remains same. This is an example we considered as an DFT of the word counting problem. So depending upon the problems that we take, we can decide how we can factorize the input module, output module and the central transform. Sometimes there will be a need of factorizing all the modules. Sometimes there will be no need of factorizing the modules depending upon the complexity that we have seen. With this idea, we'll discuss the few questions. First question, word counting problem determines. Option A, the number of different words in an input file. Option B, the number of same words in an input file. Option C, both. Option D, none of the above. We all know that we stated in the problem itself that word counting problem is meant to identify the different words in an input file. If the words is same as the previous one, then the count will not be incremented. The count will be incremented only if we have the different words. So the best suitable answer here is option A, that is number of different words in an input file. Second question, the sequence of data transformation is given by. Option A, data flow diagram. Option B, ER diagram. Option C, entity diagram. Option D, none of the above. As we know that data flow diagram is meant to show us the way the data is flow between modules or the elements of the module. So ER diagram is nothing but an entity relationship diagram which will be having a different entities along with the attributes, and entity is also a part of the diagram, but it doesn't say about anything about data. But the data flow diagram is meant for showing the data transformation or the sequence of steps that are involved in the data flow diagram. So the best suitable answer here is option A, data flow diagram. Question number 3, factoring the output module is required. Option A, true. Option B, false. In the DFT problem, we know that factoring of output module is not required because the output we got is what we got is count. The count is a most abstract output, that is, it will no longer be considered as a output. So further factoring of the output module is not required in our example. So the best option here is option B, that is false. It is no longer required. Question number 4, A rectangle in a DFT represents option A, a process, option B, a data stores, option C, an external entity, option D, an input unit. We know that in the DFT, the rectangle represents the external entity. The external entity will also be having an attributes related to it. Usually the process will be represented in a oval shape, or data stores will be represented in the form of data bases. So the rectangle shape is basically used to represent an external entity in the data flow diagram. So the best option here is option C, that is an external entity. Question number 5. In a DFT, external entities are represented by a option A, rectangle, option B, ellipse, option C, diamond shaped box, option D, circle. We know that in the DFT, external entities are represented by a rectangle. Not the diamond shape is usually represented to show the conditional check if it is true or false. Then the diamond shape is usually used for the condition purpose or decision making purpose. So ellipse will not be used and circle will not be used. So the external entities are mainly represented with the help of a rectangle. Right. So these are the questions that we discussed with respect to the topic. So a quick recap what we discussed in the particular session is, we took an example of DFD of word counting problem. So word counting problems means we have to identify the different words and make the count to increment. If it is a different, if it is the same word, then there will be no change in the count. For that we write a first level factoring, and how to identify, how to give the input, and how to get the form of abstract input and the abstract output. So with this basic knowledge, we'll try to do one activity. So let us see what is this activity. Activity is nothing but write the first level factoring of hospital management systems. So what we are discussing here is, with this basic knowledge, like we know what are all the steps involved in the SDM, and we also took an example of word counting problem, how exactly the SDM works. With this basic knowledge, we can also write a first level factoring of any of the practical applications. So what activity we are doing here is, we are trying to write a first level factoring of the hospital management systems. Similarly, you can write a first level factoring of any of the applications like student database management you can write, or student attendance management you can write, or credit card processing you can write, or any other ATM transaction we can write, any number of applications, but this serves as a basic knowledge. So what exactly the first level factoring means, we have to identify the modules or the units or the input modules which are required to incorporate in the system. That is the first level factoring. As we all know that at a shot we are not developing a software. Instead of that, we are converting, or we are decomposing the software into a different levels, that we call it as a first level factoring. That is, initially to start with, what are all the things that we should consider while developing a software. So this is the first level factoring. So after the first level factoring, sometimes we may also again get the high level structure. When we get the high level structure, what we can do is, again we can decompose, again we can factorize the input module, output module, as well as a central transform. So let us take an example, that is hospital management system. Let us think what could be the possible modules that we can think when we say it is an hospital management system. So think what could be the modules. Yeah, right. When we have to manage something, first we have to create the login, that is login for the administrators. So we can create the login for the administrators, login for the management people, or login for the patients. First input module we should give is login access for all the people who are involved in the hospital management system. So after that we can management of the doctors, management of the patients we can think, or the management of the reports, or management of the medicines, what all the medicines which has been given to the each and every patient. So management of the reports can be done, or management of the daily routines of the patient. So all these things we can think, that is the thinking may differ from person to a person. First we should think that what are all the basic modules that are required. As I said, login is a must we should require, and the patient's information we should capture, and we should also maintain the database of the doctors. We should also generate the medicinal reports, and we should also generate the history of the patients. We should also maintain a separate module for billing system. Billing system is a huge process. Maybe it comes under the insurance, or by the cash, or by the credit card. So there will be a different criteria comes under the billing. So, and what could be the finalized bill, what is the amount that they should give during the what is the deposit amount during the during the admission of the patient. So these are the different modules we can think, and we can never assure that the output of the first level factoring will always gives a input in their physical form. There may be a chances that that the output of this particular first level factoring is also in the high level. Then we cannot leave it to that as such. Again we can consider the particular input module. Suppose, as I said, billing. So billing, we can take one input module that will serve the central transform. So billing, in the billing again we can get a billing under the insurance, billing under the cash payment, billing under the credit card payment. Again we can divide into a different modules, and the percentage of profit comes under each of the billing systems. That is also again the next factoring level. So the output may also have a high structure that has to be considered again for the furthering factor. Again, since it is a hospital management is an a little complex system when compared to what we discussed in our example. Again there is also a need of factorizing the output module also. So output means generating the reports of the patients, generating the health records of the patients, or generating the discharge summary of the patients. All these are examples of the output module. Again we have to further divide and get the most divide until we get the most abstract output, so that it can be easily turned into a physical outputs. So along with that input and the output module, every time we have to identify the central transforms and make use of it. Again divide it until we make a simplified versions of all the modules that are existing in the system. So this is a one basic idea which I am giving, how to factorize the given application. With this knowledge, I hope you all try to write a first level factoring of the hospital management system with a neat representation. Thank you.